Okay, so fractions. A couple things you need to remember about fractions. First, you need to remember that when adding and subtracting, you need a common denominator. When multiplying, it doesn't matter. You're going to multiply straight across. We'll just say across, multiply across. Or when I mean across, I mean like top to top, bottom to bottom. So you're just going to multiply across. When you divide, you cannot divide fractions. So when you're dividing fractions, technically what you're going to do is you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so that's just kind of in a nutshell the rules you need to remember that involve fractions. So first we have 5/4 minus 3/4. We're subtracting, so we need to look for a common denominator. But if you notice, the denominators are both 4. So I have a common denominator, and when you subtract and add, you need to keep the denominator. So it doesn't change. So you find a common denominator, keep it the same. But your numerators are going to follow the operation. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So 5/4 minus 3/4 is 2/4. Now, many of you, that is going to bother you to keep it in that form because you've been taught your whole life to reduce. When you take calculus on the AP calculus test, if you take that, you don't have to reduce. So you can leave your answer as 2/4, or it's the same to say 1/2. And out of habit, I'll probably reduce most likely. Okay, the second one is subtraction again, but if we look at the denominators, this one has a denominator of 8, and the 2 doesn't have one. So we're going to give it a denominator. 2 whole is the same as 2 divided by 1. All right, I can't subtract these until I get them both to a common denominator. I know I can change the 1 to an 8 if I multiply by 8, but you're only allowed to do that if you do it to the numerator also. So really what you have here is 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8. So 2 whole is really 16/8 minus the 13/8 we were given. Now our denominators are the same, so I can subtract the numerators. So keep the denominator. 16 minus 13 is 3. So your answer is 3/8. All right, 9/5 plus 4/3. When adding, we need a common denominator. So same rules as subtracting. But I can't turn 5 into 3, and I can't turn 3 into 5, because the only way to get a common denominator is through multiplication. That's why we multiplied by 8 in the second one. So what I'm going to do is I recognize that 5 and 3 can both be changed into 15. In order to change the denominator to 15, I'm going to have to multiply this first fraction by 3 and the second fraction by 5. So what I really have is 9 times 3 is 27. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 5 is 15. So now my denominators are the same. So I keep the denominator, and I do the operation with the numerator. So 27 plus 20 is 47. So 47/15 is the answer. Okay, when multiplying, we just multiply straight across. It doesn't matter what the denominator is. So I have -5 times 1 is -5. 4 times 3 is 12. So this is -5/12. That can also be written as negative in front, 5/12. Or you can rewrite that negative fraction with +5 and -12. It does not matter if your negative symbol is in the numerator or the denominator or out in front. But what it cannot be is a negative on top and bottom. That does not work. So when you're worried about where to place your negative in a fraction, just remember it doesn't matter as long as you don't make 2 of them. All right, multiply across. So 8 times 7. Sorry. Somebody tried to come in. All right, 8 times 7, 56. Over 7 times 10, 70. So again, I can leave the fraction like this, Or I can simplify it down. I know both 56 and 70 are divisible by 2. That's not the biggest number, but, they're both divisible by 7. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. 70 divided by 7 is 10. So that simplifies to 8/10. All right? So either way you want to write it, just fine. Okay, now division. When we divide, I said you have to multiply by the reciprocal because dividing fractions doesn't really make sense. So what we're really doing is we're going to keep the beginning, so keep -1/2. Change division to multiply and reciprocate or flip the second fraction. Now, multiply by normal. -1 times 4 is -4. 2 times 5 is 10. You can leave the fraction or make it -2/5. Okay? -9/5 divided by 2. Well, we can't reciprocate a whole number, so we need to build it a fraction. 2 wholes, the same as 2 divided by 1. So I'm going to keep the first fraction, -9/5, change division to multiply, and reciprocate the second. So -9/10. And that's it for fractions.